Pakistan has charged prominent Baloch rights activists. We are talking about Mahrang Baloch and several other activists of terrorism. This after she led the demonstration against the illegal arrest and illegal police remand of the relatives of the victims of enforced disappearances. Mahrang, who leads Baloch Yakhjehti Committee (BYC), is currently lodged in Quetta District Jail along with 150 others after the brutal crackdown on the Baloch leaders at their demonstration camp. And according to local media reports, the charges on the demonstrators cover offences like terrorism, murder and attempted murder, incitement to violence and rebellion, creating disorder and promoting racial hatred and property damage. Mahrang's sister Asma Baloch has alleged that the police is not letting a family meet Mahrang, and they were also not allowed to deliver food and other essentials to her. Human rights organization Amnesty International called for Mahrang's release in a post on X on Sunday, stating that she had been unlawfully detained for over 38 hours. Mahrang Baloch is one of Pakistan's most prominent human rights advocates and the organizer of Baloch Yakhjehti Committee, a human rights group. Mahrang has long campaigned against oppression of the Baloch ethnic group by the Pakistani state. Her demonstrations have highlighted forced disappearances of Baloch activists in Pakistan. She's also been featured in the BBC 100 Women and Time 100 Next list. Early this month, she was nominated for the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize. Over the last decade, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan provinces have reported the highest number of incidents of forced disappearances in Pakistan. According to a report by Pakistan Commission of Inquiry on Enforced Disappearances, at least 10,000 such cases were reported between 2011 and 2024 in Pakistan. Devastation, even as discussions in Saudi Arabia attempt to forge a path to a ceasefire. Early on Monday, Ukraine claimed a major strike against Russian forces, targeting 4 attack helicopters with US-supplied HIMARS missiles. The operation unfolded in Belgorod region, deep within Russian territory. On your screens right now, you can see footage released by Ukraine's special forces, showing US-made HIMARS missiles blowing up 2 Russian Ka-52 and 2 Mi-8 helicopters. The HIMARS missile launcher used in the attack relies heavily on US intelligence for its precision targeting. And if you remember, it's the same intelligence which was briefly withheld earlier this month before being reinstated by the US. Now, this attack comes at a very crucial moment. Negotiations are underway in Riyadh, where American and Russian officials are discussing measures to ease tensions between Kiev and Moscow. Meanwhile, there is no pause on the battlefield. Russia launched a massive overnight drone attack on Ukraine, striking multiple regions, including Kiev, Kharkiv and Zaporizhia. Ukraine's Air Force reported shooting down 57 out of 99 Shahid drones launched by Russia. The destruction caused by the drones is devastating. In Kiev, a large-scale drone attack claimed at least 3 lives, including a 5-year-old child. Falling drone debris set ablaze a high-rise residential building in Ukraine's capital, leading to the death of a woman.
A balcony on one room is now destroyed. Everything else is destroyed inside, and windows facing this side were blown out. A woman who lived on the 9th floor was burnt alive.
And the latest coming in, a Russian missile attack on a residential area in Ukraine's Sumy struck residential areas and a hospital. According to reports, at least 65 people were injured in this attack, including 14 children. Sumy is located just 30 kilometers from the border with Russia and has witnessed constant missile and drone strikes by Russia. Meanwhile, in other parts of the country, rail services were disrupted as Ukraine's state-owned railway, Ukrazatskaya, reported a massive cyber attack on its systems. The company said that restoration efforts are underway, adding that train services remain operational. In a statement, Russia's defense ministry said that its air defense systems intercepted 4 dam-guided bombs, 3 HIMARS and nearly 230 drones in the last 24 hours. These figures further reflect the scale of the conflict, which shows no signs of abating, even as diplomatic channels remain open. In Riyadh, US officials have met separately with both Ukrainian and Russian delegations. It was earlier planned as simultaneous meetings to allow for shuttle diplomacy, but the talks are now taking place sequentially. And according to reports, discussions are centered on critical issues, including a mutual pause of long-range attacks targeting energy infrastructure and civilian areas between Ukraine and Russia. There's also a strong push to secure the Black Sea for commercial shipping. And ahead of the talks, the Kremlin said that Russia and the United States are aiming towards a settlement to end the 3-year war, adding that there are various aspects that need to be finalized. Well, the meeting is expected to be followed by another contact between US and Ukrainian teams. As bombs fall and talks move forward, the diplomatic talks move forward, one question looms large. Can diplomacy bring an end to the devastation? Or will this conflict spiral further out of control? Our next story is about the United States of America. Recently, the US removed bounties on 3 senior Taliban figures, including Sirajuddin Haqqani, who is Afghanistan's acting interior minister and leader of the infamous Haqqani network. Washington lifted a $10 million reward for Haqqani, a major Taliban leader. And this marks a major shift in US policy towards Afghanistan. The removal of the bounty raises important questions about the future of US policy towards Taliban rule in Afghanistan. You see, this change occurred just days after Afghanistan released an American. Last week, the Taliban released George Gleesman, who had been held captive for 2 years. Does his release have anything to do with this latest development? Was there a secret deal behind Gleesman's release? You see, Gleesman was abducted while traveling as a tourist in Afghanistan in December 2022. Now, what was an American tourist doing in Afghanistan? And that too, when Taliban is ruling the country. That's a question that I will leave you to guess. But remember, the Taliban takeover of Kabul followed the hasty and chaotic withdrawal of American troops. Gleesman's release marks the 3rd time a US detainee has been freed by the Taliban since January. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio had described Gleesman's release as a positive and constructive step. He also thanked Qatar for its role in securing his release. Meanwhile, the rulers of Kabul, the Taliban, stated that the freedom of US detainees is a part of its global normalization efforts. Since taking control of Afghanistan in August 2021, the Taliban has become an international pariah. No country has formally recognized its government, even though several countries continue to operate diplomatic facilities in the country. And now, interestingly, despite the announcement about the removal of bounty on Haqqani, the FBI still lists the reward on its website. According to that, it says Haqqani, and I'm quoting here, believed to have coordinated and participated in cross-border attacks against US and coalition forces in Afghanistan. The Haqqani network is led by the son of a well-known commander from the war against the Soviets. The US has labeled this group as a terror organization, and it is considered one of the most dangerous armed groups in Afghanistan. And that's even after the Taliban took control, the Haqqani network stayed on the US radar. In 2022, a US drone strike in Kabul killed Ayman al-Zawahiri, the then leader of Al-Qaeda, while he was in a house linked to the Haqqani network. Now, reports say that the US might consider re-engaging with the Taliban and may reopen its embassy in Kabul. This move is likely aimed at countering any influence from China or Pakistan, and in Afghanistan, preventing the spread of ISIS-K. Are there back-channel communication going on between the US and the Haqqani network? And that only time will tell. Well, it's never a dull day in the life of US President Donald Trump. In the very latest, he has now made a unique complaint about his distorted portrait at the Colorado state capitol. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote that nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves. He went on to say that the portrait was purposefully distorted and pinned the blame on Governor Jared Polis while making such a claim. Trump was also quick to draw a comparison between the artist's impression of him and Barack Obama, which he said turned out to be pretty well. While Trump seemed to be quite upset, and understandably so, his blame on Governor Jared is unfounded, as a Democrat practically had nothing to do with the portrait of Trump. Rather, it was a Republican state senator named Kevin Grantham who raised funds to get Trump's portrait up in 2019. However, this is an interesting twist to it, and perhaps little to Trump's knowledge. Just a year before, in 2018, Democrats had reportedly put up a picture of Vladimir Putin at the Colorado state capitol in a bid to embarrass the Republicans, at the same spot where Trump's portrait hangs today. All in all, a disgruntled Trump has asked for his portrait to be taken down, claiming that taxpayers seem to be complaining about it. Quite unbecoming for a man whose own Oval Office is decked up with a plethora of his portraits and his pictures and his mugshot as well. Turns out Trump's art attack is scarier and one to be braced from.